Okay.
So good day to you viewers, good afternoon, good night to those in other parts of the world. We thank you for joining us here on the West Indies Cricket Development Academy um, YouTube channel. And as you know, this is Beyond the Cricket Boundary. We are discussing the state of West Indies cricket on tour of the UK, and also we are going to be discussing the unfortunate news that we just got coming through of the retirement of the 29-year-old former West Indies captain Nicholas Pooran. The statement from Cricket West Indies read, Cricket West Indies extend sincere gratitude and appreciation to Nicholas Pooran for his outstanding contribution to West Indies cricket. Nicholas officially informed the leadership of his decision to retire from international cricket, bringing to a close a significant chapter in his career. A world-class player, a game changer, Nicholas leaves the game as the most capped West Indian in T20 international with 106 matches and the leading T20 international run scorer with 2,275 runs. His performance on the field and influence within the team have made a lasting impact on West Indies cricket. We salute his achievement and thank him for the moments he has given fans across the region and beyond. We wish him all the very best in the next phase of his journey. That is the official statement from Cricket West Indies um, of the retirement of the former West Indies captain in T20 and ODI, Nicholas Pooran, the 29-year-old Trinidadian West Indian batter. I have with me on set Mr. Dale Brown, Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, and also a consultant with us here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy. Good evening to you, Mr. Brown. Good evening to the viewers that join us all over the world. Good evening to our contributors as well. We wholeheartedly thank the Cricket Hall of Fame for all they do for us here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy. We also thank Mr. Zashan Coram from Texas for all that he has done as well for us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. Mr. Brown, here in the news first of Nicholas Pooran, it ties into what we meet to discuss this evening, the state of West Indies cricket.
I thank you very much, Mr. Codlin, for inviting me to be here. And I wish to greet all the listeners and watchers of your wonderful program. And I'm very happy to be here. Mr. Codlin, I'm very surprised. It is a surprise because, when a player says he's tired and he asks about being excused from a tour which is of great importance to West Indies, of course. And we were discussing it as to why would he not make himself available. And now, of course, we are understanding and realizing that he was preparing himself to retire. And I think it's very unfortunate. He's not even 30 years old, and to lose him at this stage when he has been one of our most successful ever in that format. You can't say enough good things about him. And it's just very surprising for me.
Indeed, indeed. Nicholas Puran was a bright spark. He was a personal friend to me as well. I interviewed him a lot of time, maybe the most time during his captaincy of Cricket West Indies when he was there. So we shared a very close relationship. And it is sad to see Nicholas Puran hanging up his boot. But Mr. Brown, do you think it is really an indictment on the leadership of Dr. Shallow and Asim Basarat, his own countryman and cricket board president, that he chose now to walk away? We don't have any evidence of any internal matter, but do you believe that something was boring under the carpet, and also with the now fully vested power in Darren Sammy as the sole selector of our team, and the decisions that would have been made in removing Powell from the captaincy and see under the leadership now of um, Shea Hope, the team has regressed really. Do you think this is a clear message that these superstar players don't endorse the new state of West Indies cricket?
Well, Mr. Codlin, I think it's a fair assessment because obviously, if he was happy with the arrangements, he would not retire. So it's not like he's playing all formats and he has been able to pick and choose when he's available. However, if someone said to him, you have to make yourself available for this series or that series, and he's not used to people coming down hard at him, he would, it is very conceivable that he would react or respond in this manner. But it shows again that the leadership have to make their structure very clear to each player what is expected of them, and when you don't have a central contract or you don't sign one, you don't really have that much jurisdiction over the player. And I'm all for building West Indies cricket, getting everyone under the same umbrella. And it's just you don't want to blame anyone, but if you are going to say who is really responsible, who is responsible to make these players comfortable, make them comfortable mentally, that is, to say, okay, I'm okay with playing here, I'm okay not playing here, etc., etc., because they have given him all the rope that he needs to get. But something went wrong and it didn't just happen overnight. I don't believe so.
Yeah, and since we have seen the leadership um, since 2019 of Dr. Shallow and his predecessor in Ricky Skerritt, where the board now ultimately give the players the power to do whatever they want, pick and choose when they play for West Indies after a great amount of investment. It's quite shocking to see them having all this power but still walking away from West Indies cricket. It is just unbelievable that a player of this caliber with so much years ahead of him in our cricket choose now to walk away with West Indies really on the brink of going to World Cup qualifiers for the third consecutive World Cup cycle now. Um, every cycle of a World Cup comes around every 4 years, and for the last 12 years, West Indies um, really, you can say, will have to go into a qualifiers for the World Cup. You needed a player of this quality to make sure that we don't miss out like we did in 2023 when the World Cup was in India.
Absolutely, sir. And with a person like Puran, you're looking not just at talent, because he's one of the best and most explosive batters in the world, but you're looking at his experience, you're looking at leadership because he's a former captain, and you have to consider all those things when dealing with someone like him. And it's one thing when these players are not available for test matches, which you want them to be available for it. But if now, looking down the road, they are not going to be available for the T20 or ODI formats, now we're going to be really, really run into a serious problem, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, we're inviting all those that are watching to comment. Let us know what you think. We will try our best to answer your comments while we're on. While you're watching, please subscribe to the channel, and also please like this stream and share it as well. And we wholeheartedly once again thank you for joining us and for spending some time as we analyze the state of West Indies cricket on tour of the UK. We lost all the ODIs against England, but just before those ODIs, we are touring the United Kingdom. We stopped in Ireland first, and we lost the first game comprehensively against Ireland. We would have won the second one, but because of rain, and West Indies really came into their own in the third and final ODI. But just to look at our team, first game against Ireland, first game against England, um, analyze the state of West Indies cricket, looking at the first game of both the series that we would have already engaged in regards to ODI.
Well, one word that sums it up for me, Mr. Codlin, is not prepared. The team did not seem to be prepared. They seemed to be caught off guard with all the talk about preparation and entering games, knowing what you're up against and what you're trying to do. They come out and don't execute, especially with the bowlers. You see batsmen batting without discipline, and you know that they are not going to do well, especially in the first match. We saw in the game against England, for example, the first ODI, England scored 400 against us, and that's an indictment against our bowling strategy. Whatever it is that they were trying to accomplish, England just demolished us completely. And on the same wicket, we went and we only made 162 runs. So, it's, and for Ireland to ambush us in the manner in which they did, it tells me that the team was not ready. They were not prepared.
Yeah, one of the person in our comments want to know who is retiring. The former West Indies captain Nicholas Pooran is only 29 years old, and he has decided this evening to walk away from West Indies cricket, to walk away from international cricket and only focus on franchise cricket. And it's a dark day in West Indies cricket, indeed, to see Nicholas Pooran walking away. Um, it, with us going to the UK, knowing that it's a tour against Ireland, against England, that we must perform and be up to par in the ODI section of the tour, because we sit in a marginal stage of not being able to qualify automatically for the 2027 ODI World Cup. In their preparation, you could see from you rightfully say there was no mind power employed, no mindfulness, no real you know need for seeing the stage that they are in and knowing that we must be focused, we must visualize ourselves beating Ireland, visualize ourselves beating England. You could not look on the team where the coaching is concerned and from a captaincy point of view and from a player point of view, none of them um, you think wasn't in the mind of really performing and to bring our team to a respectable position. And as you rightfully pointed out, in the first game of the ODI against Ireland, we were found wanting, and against England, we were exposed. Um, but looking now at the T20 section of the England tour, um, looking specifically at the game yesterday and the start of Johnson Charles, analyze Johnson Charles and why do you think they are persisting with him? Because if they were clearly using mind power, Johnson Charles would be nowhere near West Indies cricket.
And you're speaking specifically the game yesterday.
Yes,
Um, and this is why when we look at numbers, we have to look beyond the numbers and to see how did this person make 47 runs, for example. So with Johnson Charles, he scored, he made 47, and 30 of those runs came in boundaries of 6 deliveries. He made 30 runs in boundaries. But his other 17 runs took him 34 deliveries, you know,
yeah,
and that is he ate up a lot of dot balls, as we would like to say. And if you look at when he was batting with hope, our inning just stalled. Both of them seem to have been at sea. They never pushed the score. They were only interested in it in sixes and fours and were not running between the wickets or trying to place the ball where they could get singles. And between them, believe it or not, Mr. Codlin, they faced a total of 65 deliveries where they only made 33 runs in those 65 deliveries. In this day and age, you cannot almost at any time in your inning score at that slow rate and end up winning that game. So I think Johnson Charles 47 is what you'd call a false 47 because it really hurt the team for how long he batted for that
yeah,
47.
yeah. They wasted time and looking really. They had a press conference with Darren Sammy yesterday. I did not get to attend that press conference, but if I had attended that press conference, I would have asked the question. Brandon King is the vice captain, but can't find a place in the playing 11. Um, Dive into that a bit for me.
Well, Mr. Codlin, that is stranger than strange because if he's the vice captain, you would think that he's going to play. That's logical for him, for you to think, or for me to think that way. When you look into the future, what we are preparing for, and I have no problem with anyone's age if they are producing the goods. But if you're really thinking 2 years down the road, if Brandon King is not injured in any way, shape, or form, he has to play ahead of Johnson Charles. There's no question about that. So that is very puzzling as to what it is that they are really trying to do because I just don't see Johnson Charles being an automatic pick in the team. And now that he went and made 47, it may deceive people to think that no, he can't be dropped. He has to continue playing. but it was a weak 47, and he ate up a lot of dot balls in that 47.
Indeed, indeed. And do you think the vice captain not playing it brings down the morale of the team, and therefore that might have been one of the reasons why we lost yesterday?
Well, it certainly would have a negative impact on the team because if I am vice captain for anything, I expect to be out on the field unless I am injured or badly out of form or something along those lines, where you'll sit down, the vice captain, and say, okay, you're a little bit tired. We're going to rest you for this game. But to me, you pick a captain, the captain must play, and the vice captain must play. If you assign up someone to the position of vice captain, he is expected to play. You would not see something like this happening anywhere else in the world except West Indies now.
Indeed. And Darren Sammy in his press conference yesterday said that it's difficult to captain behind the stump. Do you think he is blaming the captaincy that he just gave he just threw it to Shea Hope. And if it had not been for Shea Hope reluctance to take the captaincy in the test format, he would have been the test captain as well. And so he said that um, it's difficult to captain behind the stump. What can and what do you glean from that Darren Sammy is trying to say to us, the public? Because uh, the captain is marshalling the troops from behind the stump. This is why we lose. Because that's what I get. But I want to know what you think about it, and we would love for those that are watching to tell us in the comments what do you think about that statement that Darren Sammy had made yesterday.
Okay, it's a very puzzling statement because this is a man who, unlike the test captain, did not have to go through a rigorous interview process to get the captaincy for that team. It was handed to him. And it's not as if you don't know that he's the wicket keeper. You know that. So the same way it is difficult for him in the one format, it must be difficult for him in the other format. If you have a captain that is the wicket keeper also, especially in international cricket, you have to have other veterans on the field who can marshal the troops without the captain running back and forth, because now you're putting pressure on the captain to adhere to the time limit, because if he doesn't adhere to the overrate, the overrate, we can get penalized for the too slow and overrate. If you have veterans on the team, for example, you have Powell, who was a captain, he should be able to help to set the field or to give a message to the bowler. And that's why a lot of times captains, they can't feel that fine leg or far away from the bowler. They are more in the mid off, mid on positions, or they have persons who can relay their messages. And Mr. Codlin, it brings me back to the thing with Alzari Joseph. And I've watched international cricket and I see bowlers constantly making adjustment to their fields. Just they're at the mark, and you'll see them wave their hand to someone to tell them to come up a little bit more or move them a little forward, whatever. And if you remember, Hope was the captain with the incident with Alzari Joseph, and I think he just waved off Joseph like, "Hey, shut up, come on board." But in international cricket, you have to respect the bowler. You have to know, use your emotional intelligence to know that you have to give the bowler some leeway in what he wants. And it makes me now wonder what is Hope's attitude and what is Sammy saw yesterday. because obviously he was not pleased with something that Hope did. Something Hope did, we don't know what it is, but he's visibly and by his words not very happy, speaking about how difficult it is to captain from behind the stumps.
Yeah, very much. Somebody in the comment, Philip Barnes, I think that is very lame excuse. So where is the proper position and feel for captain? He was just trying to pretty it up for Shea. That's what Mr. Barnes referred to. Somebody else in the comments said that it's difficult to captain when Darren Sammy is the coach because he wants to captain from the sideline and coach the team. So he wants to do everything. Do you share those sentiments?
Yes, I do. Yes, absolutely. It started when, well, we suspected it, but the way he dealt with Rovman Powell last year in the World Cup, when he showed him up by coming on the sidelines and trying to tell him what to do, we saw that. We see evidence of it right through. And now he's handpicking his captains, and apparently when the team is doing badly, you better watch out because Sammy is going to somehow deflect the blame and don't take it and say, I have to get the boys better prepared or whatever. He's telling you that somewhere along the line, the captain didn't do something. And he's telling us that it's difficult for him to captain from being the wicket keeper. So who knows? Maybe we'll see a change there also.
Yeah, he's behaving like one in the United States. Um, and so it's very difficult. Um, but you know, looking ahead and looking at tomorrow, he did hint that he's wondering if some people will be around and can make the World Cup in another year. Do you think he's trying to hint something? And he did say that Etimaya has been in the team now and have not gotten a game yet. So do you think that Etimaya might come in tomorrow and Brandon King might come in for tomorrow game? Do you think we should expect and we should see um, some changes being made to the team tomorrow based on what you would have said in that press conference yesterday evening?
Yes, sir. As you mentioned, he said it in the press conference and he called, I believe, those two specific names, Hetmeyer and King. And he also made mention about 2 years down the road. So I don't know. I would say that yes, I expect both of them to be playing tomorrow. No question about it.
Yeah, and just a bit on Akil Hussein coming in 8 hours flight from um, Trinidad and Tobago to Heathrow Airport. Had to travel 2 hours to the ground and then going right into the game. Is that now the norm? Is that ideal? And do you think um, that West Indies is over reliant on these players that no matter what, even at their own detriment, just to win, they will um, make these players go into game and maybe have some problems thereafter. But really and truly, should Akil Hussein have played yesterday's game after coming in a few hours before the game?
Ideally, you would say no. However, he played and he was our best bowler, most economical bowler. And but sometimes it's not just that game. You're looking at the after effects going into the following game, like tomorrow. But speaking of Hussein, that issue which caused him to arrive late in England, for me is a very serious issue because we all know that England had changed their visa requirements, and the West Indies board gave him permission to stay and continue out and play out his T20 league matches. Came back to Trinidad late, and apparently they didn't really realize that he had to do an in-person interview at the embassy in order to get his visa. So we are seeing the fallout from that first failure coming all the way back to that game. And apparently, they were not able to make the adjustments without him, even though Sammy said he put up his hand and insisted that he had to play. But he played basically on no rest whatsoever. So, in the interest, I would agree with you that it's good that he was able to play, but it also shows for me some disorganization and lack of consistency because they should not have expected him to play. But they had to win yesterday in order to keep the series alive. So I think that they rolled the dice and played him.
Yeah, and responding to a comment here, um, the boys and men rights activists. Mr. Ose, I don't understand why the selectors not picking Mears and the last time Allen performed good enough with the ball. Why are he not being picked also with Paul and Odin? Also, that should be Odin Simit.
Or
Um,
the
yeah, but do you think, Odin Simit and Romario Shepherd was basically fighting for that place there, and we know that Shepherd is well above Odin Simit now, has moved above him. Both of them were on the same level in 2021, 2022, but since 2023, we have seen Shepherd grow above Odin Simit. But Kyle Mears and Kimo Paul, your thoughts on them?
well, I know not so much about Paul, but especially Mayers. One of the things that West Indies don't do is tell you who makes themselves available. So a lot of times we don't know. For example, I know on one occasion, Mayers had said he was not available to play, but since then, we don't know if he's available or is he being punished for not being available, in a prior series. And I would love to see them just for transparency, just say we contacted this player and he's not available. This way we don't have to speculate as to whether or not they just didn't pick him. And the same thing with Chemo Paul. I think Sammy has his favorites and the type of player that he wants. And maybe Mayers is just not one of those players that he likes.
Yeah, yeah, and notable, he was a replacement for Brandon King during the 2024 World Cup back here in the West Indies when King was injured and had to leave the World Cup. Um, so it just baffles us why a player like him would not be called. Um, Looking now at tomorrow's game, what are your expectations from a West Indian point of view? What are the things you're looking to see in tomorrow's final game against England before we go back over to Ireland?
Well, one of the things in particular, and I know Chase, for example, did not, 15 runs came off his one over. But I would believe, sir, that when you have three spin bowlers in a T20 game, Hussein, Moti, and Chase, and you know that Hussein bowls in the power play. But in
Yeah,
the middle overs, I would have expected Moti and Chase. You have to have faith in them, and I would have expected them to bowl rather than Shepherd. I don't know why they use that bowling lineup and set up the bowling that kind of a way. But I would have loved to see them focus a little bit more on it. You see, England with Dawson, they make sure he bowls out his overs. I don't understand defending a total and not having the confidence in Moti to bowl out his overs. Only Alzari Joseph and Hussein bowled their quota of overs, and they left the last over in the hands of Jason Holder to bowl that last over. So I would like to see some consistency, especially what they used to do in the World Cup last year, where the spinner would bowl in those middle overs.
Yeah,
After the power play, they would use the spinners there, but they're not even bowling out the spinners anymore. With the batsmen, I would love again to see the rotation of strike. I would, take those singles, manipulate the ball in areas of the field where you can get a single, you know, and of course your power hitting will come into play. But it doesn't make sense for you to make 70 odd runs off 4 overs and still only make 190 something. That doesn't make any sense. It means
yeah,
for the first 16 overs, you only made like 120 runs. That means you're batting too slowly. And if you're
yeah,
going to
because they
do that,
make 70 odd in the last four.
yes, yes. And that doesn't make any sense. And look how low down Jason Holder and Chase, look how low down they bat. If you're
Yeah,
gonna bat Chase that low, and I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he's not the type of person for you to have coming in at number 9 or whatever.
right,
And I think he's an intelligent cricketer. He's aware of match situation. Not going to tell you he's better than anybody, but at least I know he will try to knock the ball around. These other guys, if they're not hitting a 6 or a 4, they don't have any interest in scoring runs. That's just the way it seems.
yeah,
You know. So I would like to see if Chase is playing and you're batting him so low down, it means he's a specialist spin bowler, a specialist bowler. Bowl him in those middle overs. You have to
yeah,
have that plan.
yeah. And um, the person here in our comment, he doesn't really have a name by which we can call. Maybe he should tell us his name, but he's trying to say here that we need bowlers to back Azari, Seals, Shamar in case of injury, you know. And he said he likes Paul and Odin and Mr. Andrew Homeless. I think Shepherd should open the bowling. Your response to these two?
Well, I agree with the backup bowlers. And since he mentioned Shamar Joseph, he's back in the West Indies playing in the isn't he playing in
In the A
the
team against South Africa A.
yes. So he was over there. Now you pull him from there and bring him back here. The same thing they did with Joel Andrew. That's why he's not, he's just not there. So you have to be consistent and make up your mind what it is that you are doing, what you want from these players. And the second part of your question was who?
Um, Shepherd opening the bowling.
Shepherd opening the bowling, I would say, might be a better option than Jason Holder. I would agree with that. I don't know why they insist on Holder opening the bowling, but that's what they have done. Uh, he's not that penetrative, and I don't see him really taking wickets in the power play. I don't see him having that ability to do that. So I would give somebody else a chance. Yes. And Shepard
Absolutely.
definitely has the experience. He has the experience.
He just
So
won the IPL.
yes, he has experience.
Yeah, and Neville Isaac. West Indies batsmen need to score at least 4 singles every over in order to have a better chance of winning. We absolutely agree with you, Mr. Neville Isaac. Um, that's it from us here this evening. We will look to come back at some point tomorrow after the game to just to look back and to review and to spend some more time talking and assessing West Indies cricket. But we're asking you, we are embarking and now in the process of building 2 concrete pitch and with fencing around it for youth and young cricketers, and we're asking for you to make a donation towards our cause in erecting these 2 concrete pitch and fencing around it. We're doing it for the benefit of young cricketers. They need somewhere safe and suitable to be able to train and to learn the game. And so later on, they can come and replace these non-performance performers that we now have on our West Indies team. Invest
Yeah.
in the youths. Invest
Um,
in West Indies Cricket Development Academy so we can help youth cricketers here in Jamaica and in other parts of the West Indies to come up and to be successful. So um, you could WhatsApp us at 1-876-853-9236 and let's have a conversation on how you can donate towards us building these 2 concrete pitch with fencing around it for the advancement of young cricketers here in Jamaica and for our team to perform a lot better than we are performing now. Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, a consultant with us here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy, Mr. Dale Brown. How important is it for fans of West Indies cricket to donate to an academy like ours that is looking out for the best interests of youth and young cricketers at the school level here in Jamaica and in the rest of the Caribbean?
it is extremely important, extremely crucial, and critical to the development of young cricketers, especially at the high school level. And which high school is it that you are helping at this time, Mr. Codlin?
The, the Denby High School in
Denby High School
Clarendon.
in Clarendon. And, you know, it's not one of the traditional cricket powerhouses. And to truly develop, you need to come from the grassroots level and use teams that are not powerful and well known out there because, as we say, the chain is as strong as the weakest link. So if Denby High School cricket becomes strong, it will speak well for the future of developing cricket in Jamaica, especially in the rural areas where opportunities might be less limited. I think the West Indies Cricket Development Agency Academy is living up to its name. And the big part of that name is development, cricket development, which means you're working with youth and getting them ready for the future. And I also believe, in addition to their technical skills, I believe West Indies Cricket Development Academy is also focusing on the mental skills. So these youngsters will be well rounded, well developed, able to deal with all types of adversities and be better human beings for their involvement with the West Indies Cricket Development Academy.
Absolutely. We're embracing mind power for the advancement and the guidance of these youngsters' mind, helping them to think critically, to solve cricketing problem, and not only cricketing problem, but to deal with stress at home, to deal with stress at school and everywhere they go. And so we're asking you to give us a donation to invest in this academy. And in that same breath, we thank the Cricket Hall of Fame that is helping us in a tremendous way. And we also thank Mr. Zashan Quorum from Texas that is also a partner with us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. We thank the Cricket Hall of Fame and Mr. Zashan Quorum from Texas for all that they have done already and are doing for the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. We're asking for others to join in. Remember, our contact number is 1876 853 9236. Hit us up on WhatsApp and let us know what you can do to help us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy so we can improve cricket at the grassroots level by building 2 concrete cricket pitches with fencing around it for training and advancement of our youth cricketers here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. Mr. Dale Brown, Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, consultant with us here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy. Thank you for coming and sit with us this evening. Thank you, fans, for watching. Please comment, please like the video, and please reach out to us here. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye until